Now I want to talk about MG clubs, and I see it's not as popular. I can tell how many people are on right now. It's 100, and that probably includes me. So it isn't like 185 or 250 when we talk about SU carburetors, but it's just one of those things I had to talk about. I just love talking about it. So in the beginning, of course, there's the MG Car Club. It's founded in Abingdon. Um, in like about 1929, something like that. And John Thornley was the first secretary, and it is the Catholic Church of this organization. It goes all the way back to the beginning. And in 1978, 1979, Roche Bentley had started the MG Owners Club in England. And because the MG Car Club wasn't very interested in anything after 1955, the A's were sort of under protest and B's were not. They're too new. They weren't real MGs. So there's the MGB people didn't feel welcome at the original MG Car Club, and Roche Bentley started another organization, and then they announced that they were going to close the factory, and Roche Bentley, Pitney Bowes salesman, real sharp, real sharp guy, got posters printed, and they snarled traffic in downtown London is a great publicity deal, and out of that, he got a jillion members. So the MG Car Club had real competition with the MG Owners Club. Well, then other stuff happened, and after a while, the T-typers thought they were getting the short end of the bargain, so they started the Octagon Car Club. These are all three operating today in England. The MG, the Octagon Car Club, nor the MG Owners Club ever came into this country. The T-type one, because they're terrified of they won't even sell parts to you, I don't think. Sometimes you want a part for a PA or something or other, and they won't send the part over because they're terrified of being sued for negligence or if the product fails or all that kind of stuff. MG Owners Club is a private business. Roche Bentley owns the place, and he's done extremely well. He started offering insurance to his MG members, and eventually ended up owning the insurance company. So he's done very, very well. Real interest. They still provide a wonderful product. They've got a wonderful monthly magazine, and if you want parts, contact MGOC. I just had to find some lifters for an MGC. Couldn't find them anywhere. Looked on the MGOC website. There they were. Ordered them. They were here. Within a week and a half. 30 $30 in duty. But anyway, I was able to get them, so they're a real good operation. The MG Car Club is absolutely member driven. It is not, it is owned by no one. There are groups that come and go that run the club for a while and stuff like that, but it's absolutely a member driven organization. They've got a headquarters in Abingdon, right on the site of the old grounds, and they serve centers throughout England. And so you're a member of the Tyne Tees Center, the Southeast Center, or the Scottish Center, the Ulster Center. And there's also centers here in this country that are longstanding since 1950. The Rocky Mountain Center and the Washington, D.C. Center. So Western New York. There's some centers that have been around in this country working through the MG Car Club for a long, long time. But basically, none of those clubs had a toehold here. Not after the SCCA, the original MG Car Clubs in this country turned into the SCCA. And then MGs fell out of fashion when Craig Peck was trying to start an MG Car Club in Cleveland, wanted to call it the MG, the Cleveland MG Car Club. Why not? There was already an MG Car Club in Cleveland, and they wouldn't give way. It was Toyotas and a bunch of guys interested in racing or doing parking lot events or something or other. campaigning their cars in some way, and I don't know if they're still around or not. So Craig came up with the name Emerald Necklace, MG Register. So that worked for the Cleveland area. But the MG Car Club didn't have much of a presence here until 1992, but that's later in the story. So in this country, Dick Knudsen and Frank Churchill decided that they would start the New England MGT Register. There was just right people, right place. Dick put out the magazine, The Sacred Octagon, himself from a typewriter for, I don't know, 30 years, 40 years. Oh my God. I mean, what dedication, what incredible dedication. Wrote a whole lot of books about MG, but MG wasn't his whole life. In his obituary, it said, and also wrote books about MG. So he was a very interesting guy. I have a copy of the first issue of the International Spy Society, which he tried to get going. He was interested in starting an organization, hit upon the New England MGT Register, and it still flourishes today. It's the oldest of the independent registers in the United States. So they wouldn't take MGAs. They would take people out of New England, but they wouldn't cross model lines. I uh, had a public spat with Dick Knudsen one time about, he said, no, we're T-types. I said, take them all. Come on, dude. Let's go. And he said, absolutely not. Anyway, so then John Wright and Len Rankenberger, T-register started about 64. Rankenberger and Wright and blank, got another name here, but I can't think of it, started NAMGBR in about, I would say, 1974, around there. But that followed a short organization of Cecilia at Scarborough Fair. She tried to start an organization. Don't know what happened exactly, but it's every now and then somebody will show you a dash plaque from that organization, whose name I don't even remember. Short-lived. Anyway, so the MGA guys, and of course, they wouldn't take MGBs. So very quickly thereafter, Rick Horan and John Gianasca from New England, around New York City, started the American MGB Association. It was great. It was all young people. It was great. People drove to meets here and there, and within a couple of years, it started to outgrow their desire to run an organization like that. And they didn't have a good direction. I remember one of the last ones they printed, one of their last magazines was, whether they should have a wet T-shirt contest or not in the magazine. So anyway, a guy out of Chicago, Steve Glachowski, took over the club, and he'd been the secretary. He'd paid his dues in being energetic and getting going. Well, it turns out either in the beginning it was a private organization, or certainly by the time Steve took it over, it became a private organization, corporation from Illinois, which is what Roche Bentley did. Okay, but Roche Bentley served all his members really, really well. And the AMGBA, Steve had some trouble with holding on to members and holding on to staff, and it was his baby. And eventually the ownership changed, and Frank Oachel ran it for years, years. They put out their Octagon magazine, and later called whoops. Anyway, it was a quarterly, and then it became a bi-monthly, and they published it right up until Frank passed away, which is about 3 years ago. Because they weren't taking good care of their members, that was my opinion, and shared by many others. We had a sit down with the organization, the AMGBA, in their little office in Chicago. And Frank started the meeting off. He was real direct. He said, happy to listen to you. He says, but just understand, we're not going to change anything. Okay, all right. Well, I guess we'll air our grievances. So we aired our grievances, and then formally asked them to turn over reins of the club, which they wouldn't because it was theirs. It was their business. And so we started another club, and that was the 22nd of October, 1990, at my shop in Grand Rapids. And we got people from all over, people who were not satisfied with the AMGBA. That's we're a breakaway group. We call it the North American MGB Register, which is unpronounceable. There's no way to get. We got NAMGBR, not NAMGBR, but it doesn't come off like NAMGAR. But I mean, let alone the New England MGT Register. No one even tries to pronounce that. So the MGB organization has done very well. All these organizations. Well, excuse me, I forgot Tom Boscarino. What about the MGCs? So Boscarino started the American MGC Register out of his own home, his own baby. He owned it. Mainly, what he owned was this giant copying machine because he did all his own copying and stapling. It was his baby. He loved doing it and did it for a long, long time. And then he timed out and sold the organization. I think was to Keith Sanders, and Keith ran it for a while. And after a while, it wasn't being supported as well as it could be something, and so they agreed to fold themselves into the North American MGB Register. But at the last minute, a group of American MGC Register guys said, "Hey, wait, no, no, we're not going to do that." So now there's two MGC groups, kind of one within the B Register and one standalone. They all know each other. I don't remember hearing of any fistfights anywhere over which club they belong to. So each of these clubs have got registers all throughout the United States, and some of them were standalone. There was the Chicago MGB Club and the Chicago MGA Club and the T-Type Club in Chicago. So you got three independent MG clubs running concurrently, but attrition as it is, the Chicago clubs folded into the Chicagoland MG Club, which would take all MGs. And as the demographics continue to change, most of the MG clubs now, someone proposed the other night that it was DEI, but it's just survival, and they allow in Triumphs and Heelys, and you got a Corvette. You want to pay the dues, you want to come to the meetings. Hey, have a good time. Come on. So a lot of clubs are very on the local level are very accepting of any make. There are still some really strong standalone chapters from NAMGBR, from the Michigan NAMGBR chapters, real strong. They get together as a group, good grief, 60 people all at the same time. One, a big picnic in the summer or something. Have a great time. The Chesapeake New England MGT Register chapter. They put their cars on a car train and go to Florida. So there's still activities that are done by groups. They're mostly along social lines. People who know each other. They've got MGs as the common denominator. They've known each other for, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 years, and they're real comfortable traveling together. Anyway, it's really nice. Um, it's a wonderful group of people. There have been little tiny organizations have started up. One guy started an organization called TAMGO. It was a nice pronounceable acronym, the Texas Area MG Organization. And he modeled himself, I guess, after Roche Bentley because he had parts for sale and had membership, but it didn't work. It didn't work. He went belly up. Um, there was the Midwest MGA Register. For the life of me, somebody from Kansas City can remind me of the guy's name, but I can't remember his name. And we went out there. They used the Kansas City All British Field Meet. Oh my gosh, I think the first time I went, there were 800 cars at the airport on the field. Huge, huge operation. But like everything else, things come and go, and I don't even know if they have one now. But um, it was largely due to this one guy who also was the chairman of the Midwest MGA Club, and that they talked about incorporated themselves into NAMGBR, but that didn't ever come until he died, a heart attack, and then those members who wanted to stay connected to other MGA members joined NAMGBR. So as early as I got involved, it was always like, are we all so distinct? Why not just have one club? I mean, why don't we just be all under the same banner? And you don't have to have your own standalone magazine. And I mean, there are efficiencies in scale and power in numbers. And it's like, well, what if there's just one magazine and a third of it's for the T types, a third's for the MGA, a third for the MGBs? Well, sorry, those aren't going to work if I include the midgets and the MG 1100s and all the other or types that are in there. But the MG Car Club does that. They have a monthly magazine and they send it out, and it's got register news and center news, and it's all very, very well done. Nice, and got ads in it. It's a nice magazine to get. But whenever I'd propose stuff like that, it was Ken Smith who was the rabble rouser who created the North American MGB Register. He was the rabble rouser. Me and a bunch of us, we was we were all the rabble, but Ken was the rouser. Anyway, he said, "Well, we can't combine clubs because the B Registers magazine is a half page, half fold page, and all the other magazines are full size." Ken said, "Well, how do we do that?" It's like, I don't know, I guess make the pages bigger. Anyway, there's always been prohibitions. I finally thought, well, the best way to get this thing going is to get all the clubs to use the same application form. So give me a date on this, 1990. And there were different times that the clubs would get together, could never get everybody to agree on a common membership form that you could somehow convince Moss Motors to put in every single package that goes out. You know, join the club that works for you. Couldn't even get a common membership form. The MG Car Club saw that. And in 1992, 1991, they decided that they would try to foment a combination of all the car clubs in the United States, all the MG clubs. I'd supported it, absolutely. Ought to be all one great big club. And anyway, they decided to do it in a devious manner. They came over here and tried to start a whole bunch of new clubs rather than taking the existing clubs and working with them and folding them all into the same group. So that upset the MG community, the general MG community, so much that we all gathered together and formed the MG Council. So the MG Council wouldn't have existed without England trying to take us over again. There were reports of people sending tea bags to the MG Car Club headquarters in England. Don't know if that's true or not. A good story. So Phil Richard came here he was here when we formed the B Register, and he was full of, oh boy, we're going to do this and that. You got to see what's coming. We're going to get everybody together. And then he came over here and started new clubs. So that's when we raised up all the protest. And out of that protest came MG International Indy 96 at Indianapolis, when all the clubs agreed to have one great big meet. And that's continued every 5 years since that time. Minneapolis, Eastern Tennessee, Reno, Nevada, Louisville, and next year, Sandusky. So anyway, I know all of you belong to clubs. No, I know most of us worship alone, but some of us belong to clubs. So I'm interested in hearing your experience with your local clubs and things maybe that your local club does that makes it exciting. Um, Ours used to travel not anymore, did for a long time, 2 nights in your car way up north of Michigan. It says my internet connection is unstable. I'm getting this warning. So if I'm pixelated or if I lose you, it's Xfinity's fault. Anyway, I was someplace talking about our local club and a 2 night driving event going up north. So that was really special about our club. And another thing our local MG club does, the Old Speckled Hen MG Car Club, West Michigan Old Speckled Hen MG Car Club, is we never meet in the same place. And that's really different. Most clubs meet the same place, the same, we've been meeting here for 38 years, for 15 years, for 5 years. But because we were treated so poorly by the restaurant that we've chose to attend and do it like everybody else, second time we went there, it was shambles. We said, well, let's move someplace else. And we just kept moving. And that's been since 1990 or 1991, around there. Anyway, I'm about done talking about clubs and I want to hear your experience.
How many members did you have in that club that moved every other time?
What's what's that, Judd?
About how many members were in that club that you had that moved to meeting every time?
Um, some of our meetings were as many as 100. This is 20, 30 years ago. We just had our Christmas meeting, and I don't remember anybody drove their MG. And there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tables of two, four, six, eight, 5 tables of eight. So there's only 40 of us at the Christmas party. But
Okay.
but
Well,
going up north back in the day, there would be 30 cars, 60 people. And the logistics of getting the hotels and so forth, it was amazing.
yeah, I don't know. I sent you an email. You probably didn't have a chance to look at it yet. I don't
Didn't.
know what we're doing, but our little club, now we are British Car Club. We're not MG, although we have a
Sure,
lot of MGs,
sure.
and I'm an MG guy. Uh, We've gone, when I was president in 2014, we had approximately 70 members.
Okay.
Now we have 180. And you try to find a location that can handle a meeting for 180 people, it doesn't exist. So
Right.
we just had our Christmas party at a local craft brewery and had about 120 people at the Christmas party. We do drives at least every week. And because we live in a gorgeous place with the Blue Ridge Mountains, and we can drive up in those, the mountain boy that drove the moonshine roads. Uh, but the other thing we've got, we're very fortunate. One of our members, when he died, left us his all of his garage equipment, including a four-post lift. And another member is a lawyer who uh, renovated an old quick change oil place and rents us the two-bay garage for $1 a year plus free membership in the club. And he's a Triumph guy. He's got TR4 and so on. So we have a garage with every tool you can think of for British cars, and a two-post and a four-post lift, and we meet there once a month at least. Um, but we cover an area from North Georgia through all of the upper half of South Carolina and out to western North Carolina.
What's the
A lot of
radius?
our members.
My geography's crappy. What's the radius there? 50,
Oh, that
50
would
miles?
probably be 100 mile radius.
Oh my, okay. All right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let me think. No, no, I'm wrong. 100 mile diameter, 50 mile radius.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Um, we try to have a lot of activities. Hell, I've sponsored because I've got some land the first and annual Foothills British Car Club croquet tournament, where we had probably 30 British cars parked out there, but we had a croquet tournament where everybody wore whites and pretended like they were at the Wimbledon, which used to be a croquet club and is now a tennis club. Uh, and we had a ball. So I don't know. We discovered you can't, in this environment, you can't support yourself with just MGs.
Correct.
There aren't,
Yeah.
there, You've got to be. I mean, we've got lots of members that drive Miatas and Porsches and BMWs. We look down our nose at them and give them grief, but we welcome them in, and we tell them to send $30. And the one thing that's going on, though, that I will mention real quickly, twice now we've had somebody, usually a new member, say, "I've got this friend who's got a British car and he needs some help. Anybody want to do that?" And we've helped a lot of people. And the answer that I gave, and other people have picked up on it, is when he joins the club, we'll be happy to.
Yeah.
But if he's
Yeah.
stranded on the side of the road, obviously we're going to stop.
Yep.
But if you want the milk, you got to rent the cow. So anyway, but we have a good time. Yeah, we have a good time. But I don't know what we're doing right to have 180 members, but it's wonderful.
A lot of it has to do with the leadership and the level of activity because in the end, it's just entertainment,
That's right.
in the
That's
end. So,
yeah, I think having a lot of drives is good. We've got a lot of members who they don't really like to drive. They like to, renovate cars. I mean, restore cars. That doesn't turn me on at all, but it turns them on, and that's great. Uh, so we have the restorers, we've got the drivers, we've got the mechanic people. Um, I don't know what else. I think we've got some beer drinkers, and so we have a good time. And
that's
we have a
cool.
lot of local craft breweries around here.
John, John,
Well,
hi,
not too much. Bye.
John,
Hey,
hi, this is Doug.
Judd, thank you very
I
much.
agree.
Doug.
Yeah, I agree a lot with what Judd said, especially about, the other cars, us car owners, I mean, we're all in the same boat regardless of the mark. We all have the same issues, whether it's an MG, an old Triumph, an old Austin Healey, an old Ford Mustang. I mean, if we got carburetors and, and fuel pumps under the hood, I mean, we're all in the same boat and we can, learn from each other. And well, one thing I was going to say, Frank Oshaw's magazine, it was simply called The Octagon.
The Octagon. Thank you.
The Octagon. And of course, speaking of magazines, Dick Knudsen, being a man of the clergy, his magazine was the Sacred Octagon,
Yes.
which, and but anyway, I was going to say here in the Northern Illinois, Chicago area, the biggest club is the Chicagoland MG Club. And that has maybe, I don't know, I'm guessing around 250 members, give or take. And there's another club called the Vintage MG Car Club of Chicago, which started in 1966 for T-types. And in 1976, another club started, which was then known as the Chicagoland MGB Club, which became the Chicagoland MG Club. But anyway, this year, or coming up next year, is the 50th anniversary of the big club and the 60th anniversary of the smaller club. The Vintage Club has about 50 members, 40 to 50 members. And so we're planning a couple of special kind of anniversary activities for those milestone years, 50 years and 60 years of MGs. So
You guys have two meetings a month, right? A general meeting and a work meeting at Dean's house or something?
yeah. Well, we're kind of lucky. We got this guy in the club who has a garage with, I think, 2 or 3 lifts. It's actually called the Wednesday Night Car Club, and he's got a heated garage, and the weather's nice. We barbecue out back and stuff. And Dean, yes, Dean is one of the more active members in that. And we buy, well, we get barn finds or discarded MGs, fix them up, and we might sell them for a couple $1,000 and stuff like that. But we have a monthly meeting at a restaurant, and usually there's about 40 people come to that. And the monthly meeting for the Vintage Club is maybe 15 people. I mean, there's no way that we could have well, first of all, there's no way that all 250 members are going to show up to a
No,
monthly meeting.
no.
And you need a massive parking lot if half of them wanted to show up. So, but anyway, 2026 is going to be a big year for the two Chicagoland clubs, and the Vintage Club is still going strong. We have members in that club in their 80s and 90s, and but it's hanging in there with about 40 to 50 members. The Vintage Club.
The Chicagoland Club also sponsors the swap meet in the springtime.
They do, yeah. They've done that for about 20 years. And speaking of other car clubs, every September since 1986, except for the coronavirus year, but since 1986, there's been something called the British Car Festival, and it is put on usually at a community college, and it is put on by what they call the British Car Union, which is composed of a representative or two of all the different British car clubs in the area. Austin Healey, Rolls-Royce, Mini, Sunbeam, Triumph, MG, and we have a monthly meeting to plan the festival every year. And it's called the British Car Union. They have their own website, and there's a degree of cooperation between the different British marques, between Triumph and MG and Austin Healey and Mini and Jaguar and Lotus. And so that's something that it's kind of a communal festival that's held every year in September without fail. And last year we had 400 cars, different British cars, 70%, 75% vintage, 20, 30% modern, because Jaguar and Aston Martin and Mini still make cars, so they're invited too. So anyway, and I'm active in both clubs and members of the Register New England and the MGB Register and the MGC Register.
I know I've talked too much, John, but let me just echo what Doug just said. We have within 20 miles two other very good clubs, Spartanburg and Western North Carolina. They put on fantastic car shows every year, and we get all the benefits and don't have to do all the work.
And I agree with John. Just on a post in the chat where I put the links to both of them. The Western North Carolina one has a great one at a brewery every September. And there's also one that's part of the Scottish Games in Furman in May, the Memorial Day weekend. Both of them are great shows, 100 to 200 British cars there.
It was so bizarre. I went to a niece's wedding at Furman, just up the street from there. Journey's End, Land's End is a funny name of a town, and
Landrum.
The kids wanted to show me where they'd gone to school. I'd wasted away all day Saturday, didn't do anything on Saturday. We're driving around on Sunday and they're cleaning up from the British Car Show. And I thought, oh no, I can't believe it. Came all the way down here. There was a British Car Show, like a big one, like just 3 miles down the road or something. It's crazy. Anyway, it's just an aside.
John, I think that was Traveler's Rest.
Traveler's Rest. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you.
There you go. TR is the locals.
Okay. All right. Jim Pastor, you on tonight? Oh, I don't know. I don't get any action from Jim. Jim had a club in Altoona, PA, and it was the same club for so long they quit doing dues. They get together all the time. Jim's got the workshop. They have a wonderful show at the end of August. It's just the weekend after the big MG meet in Sandusky this next year, and it's their 32nd. But their club was sort of the same people, and And I don't know. I don't. They must have quit publishing a newsletter or something or other. But everybody gets together, and it's an informal MG Triumph. It's everything, club. So who else is from another club around someplace? Tell us something about your club. Don't everybody talk at once. Ah,
John, one additional. Oh, go ahead, David.
John, George from Arizona.
yes, sir.
Okay, our club is kind of a little bit different and unique in a few ways. A few years back, I got roped into taking over the president of the club, of which I had just recently joined. Their elections were just a little bit different. Hi, George, come on in. Oh, by the way, sign here. Oh, yeah, now you're the president. So anyway, we at that time the club had been around for quite a few years, and there was two clubs. There was the T Roadrunners and the Arizona MG Club. And some years back, and I never really found out what happened, there was some kind of a problem with the T Road Runners. It was just the one club at the time, and some of the people split and started the Arizona MG Club, which is kind of sad, but those things happen. So when I took over, they hardly even talked to each other. It was kind of sad. But we tried to start up some invitations to them, and we did start to have some meetings together. But when I took over as the president, we would meet in a little tavern somewhere, and there'd be about eight of us. And I said, guys, we've got to do something different. There's only 35 members. We're going to have to do something different. I said, we're going to have a car show. This is after 4 years. We change the leadership just about every year. We add somebody new, somebody out, and the new blood really makes a difference. I like that. But at the end of mine, I said, we're going to have a car show. And so we put on a car show. It's called the BWOG, British Wheels on the Green in Arizona, there in Phoenix. And I thought, boy, what if we throw a party and nobody comes? But it was supposed to be an all British car show. And we got about 100 cars the very first year. Now, this has been going on for 8 years now, and we're up to about 150 cars, we have a beautiful venue. It's a nice open grass horseshoe kind of in the valley next to the city offices of Peoria. And it's a real beautiful venue. And we're about 100, and I think we had 148 cars plus some bridge motorcycles. But when we initially started it, we started it 1990 and back. And it was all British car show. Come on down, we don't care. And we made it a charitable event. And this year, our charitable event is turning out something like $10,000 to a local charity, which I think is wonderful. And anyway, our membership, after that first year, our membership just started to bang, bang, bang right on up. We're at about 198 right now. We've gone over 200, but you lose a few, you gain a few. But every year at the car show, we pick up new members. And people that's got these cars, you say, where do they come from? They're hiding in their garages. They're looking for something to do with their cars. So that's turned out to be real, real good for us. And then we had our Christmas party this year, we had 88 people. We had 90 people sign up, 88 showed up. So that was quite nice. We try to do a drive or two once a month. We try to put on a tech session, one or two every month. And then we have other social events to bring the ladies in. We have tea parties, different things like that. But it's turned out to be quite nice. And we call ourselves the Arizona MG Club, but we have all makes. I mean, we have A's, B's, T's, everything. And recently, the T Road Runners don't look like they're going to survive another year, or they may not even be now. And so we picked most of that membership back up too. And all those old divisions have disappeared. And, a lot of new members, a lot of new meat every year. and it works out just great for us. So, that's all. We put out a little newsletter, and it's quite nice newsletter. We'll try to get one sent to you.
George, that's very,
Okay.
very, very, very kind indeed. That's a nice the importance of having a car show, some focal point. Yep. Yep. Real nice.
Thanks.
Well,
John, you already plugged the old speckled hens.
I said a few words about them, but you're on the board. You can say a few more words about them.
So here in West Michigan, we have a great club called the West Michigan Old Speckled Hen MG Car Club. You can find us on Facebook, West MI, Old Speckled Hen MG Car Club. And we get together every month and we just have a great time. If you're from Michigan, like John likes to say, we need you, they need them. And
Something like that. We all need each other. That's for sure.
John, we have a club here in Northwest Ohio called the Lake Erie British Car Club. We're going to be doing our 27th annual British Return to Fort Meigs, which is a restored fort from the War of 1812. We're a multi-mark club. Got about 84 garages, a lot of people, but we're doing all right. We're hanging in there. We have Sunday drives for lunches and things like that. Try to do weekly ice cream runs, but that's not worked out too well. I think people are tired of eating ice cream. So we do a few things. We have a fall party, a banquet, stuff like that. So we've been going pretty strong for about 27 years.
How many cars?
Started in 1995.
How many cars do you get at that event at Fort Meigs?
Oh, about 150.
Okay.
About 150 cars, multi makes. It was started by a good friend of yours, Ed McCarroll. If you remember him.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Don't hold that against me. All right. But you're more than welcome to come. We've got quite a few. I know Gloria, they come to it a lot. We draw from Cleveland, a lot of Triumphs, a lot of MGs, a lot of a variety of things.
Yeah, nice.
So sometimes you get a chance, come down and join us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There are some real antiques at that show too. That's a great show. We go over here. We also go to the MGs of Baltimore. It's the longest running MG car show. It's been held on the same day of the same month every year for 40 some years. Nice show. It's in MG's on the Rocks. It's Rock State Park. It's excellent. And we belong to the Emerald Necklace MG register, but 230 plus members. You know, you can't know them all, but it's a good club. We have a big show every summer. Looking for a new place to have it this year.
So how many cars get to MG on the Rocks? About.
Boy, I don't know. Maybe a couple hundred cars.
Okay.
Could be
All right.
less.
Okay.
It's a nice field. It's in a clearing. It's a Boy Scout camp. And they actually have flush toilets there, which is a positive, and a nice swap meet. We always get something there.
Oh, very nice.
And it's
Okay.
just and a great disc jockey too. He's very good, and it's just friendly.
Thanks. Who else has a club that they'd like to say a few things about? Maybe do something different.
John, this is Barney. I'd like to mention a few clubs.
Yes, Barney, absolutely. Barney, you visited everybody. So what's your take?
Yeah, let me unmute myself so I don't have to hold space. Years ago, like 86, when I got my A restored, I became a member of Chicago area MGA club. After several years, it kind of went belly up and defunct. They stopped the newsletter. So I started hanging out with the Chicago NAMGBR club just to have something to do. Of course, I was the black sheep because I didn't have a TV. But several years later, after I got to be their webmaster for a while, got to know me. I think I talked them into taking the B out of the name. So they became Chicagoland MG Club and promptly doubled in size at the time from 200 members to 400. So that was really good. And they, in our younger years, we used to tinker our cars a lot. Okay, we had garage club meetings, get together in the garages to help out with the cars and stuff. Well, about 11 years ago, I started traveling around all over the country, and my first mission was to go visit all the MG car clubs in the country. And there are about 300, and we hit 40 of them in the first 18 months. But as we're traveling around the country, we get to meet other people in other places, and we ran into a few clubs that are not exactly as traditional car clubs you think about. They're more like people who just like to go with their cars. The first one Doug Clark mentioned earlier on, and that was the Wednesday Night Car Club that's in a western suburb of Chicago. And they meet every Wednesday night, tinker with cars. And about every second month, they host a natter and noggin for the Chicagoland MG Club. And then they have that big British Car Festival in September. And shortly after that's over, we head east and we go out to Pennsylvania. And there's a group in York, Pennsylvania called Daryl's Garage. A guy named Daryl Lutz has some garage space and some storage space. And a bunch of friends there, about 20 guys or so, get together on Tuesday night to tinker with their cars. And they go to this MG's on the Rocks car show every year, and they take about 20 cars down there, and they get the participation award, even not really a formal club. It's just Daryl's Garage and his right. And the other one that I'm into is Florida now. I'm in Naples, Florida. These guys are in Bonita Springs, and it's Texas Central Racing. And it's a guy with a big garage backyard, and he's always had a couple of cars. He was into British cars, and now he's racing a couple of Volkswagens from time to time. But guys get together here on Friday mornings, run their cars on Fridays at Tech Central Racing, like every week. What's different about these clubs is they're weekly clubs and they tinker on cars a lot. That's why they get together and meet. So it's just fun to have different kinds of clubs and different people in different places.
Thanks. I
think.
Thanks, Barney. Thanks. I forgot to mention racing, and there's the Vintage MG Racers. That's a club with a newsletter and an email presence, and anyone who races an MG on the various circuits around, not SCCA. I don't even know if anybody's races MGs and SCCA anymore, but in the vintage groups, the Vintage Sports Car Drivers Association of Chicago, it's stuff. More local groups. They still race real fast, but that's the Vintage MG Racers. And then since it isn't just the racers that are involved, there are also business people involved. And we started the British Motor Trade Association. That's fallow in like not growing anything right now, sort of fallow right now, but it'll be background. The BMTA. So there are also an organization for the mechanics within this. But nobody's mentioned the event in Stowe, Vermont. How does that even? Whose baby is that? Who organizes that? Is that a club or a bunch of clubs or one person or what?
That sounds like the
British invasion. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been to that a couple times. It's basically just a car show for 2 days on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, and they have the it's kind of like a normal car show on Saturday, but on Sunday they have cars parked by colors, for instance, and it's more informal and the fun stuff goes on Sunday. But
Okay.
it's a 2-day car.
All right. So who else has got a club out there? Runs a club? Is a member of a club you've been impressed by? Or any more comments about your own club in case I cut you off too soon?
Yeah,
Well,
I got a question here.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Barney.
Somebody just posted a comment about a new car club in Eastern Florida, the Treasure Coast British Car Club. And if they can, I would like for them to send me information, contact information, somebody's name, email address, phone number, stuff, so I can put them on my club's list. And if they're having a meeting sometime soon, like January, we'll probably. Where is the
Arnie,
British Treasure Coast? Is that this hemisphere? It's on the eastern coast of Florida, about halfway up, somewhere east of Orlando, I think. Oh, okay, right, yeah, Daytona and south.
We're primarily Martin County, St. Lucie County, and Indian River, which are all on the East Coast.
There
Yeah,
was
Bill, I put my name in chat right here. Appreciate if you contact me.
I'm having a hard time on my end moderating because my internet connection's a little wonky, I think, because my speaker's acting a little funny. This is the first time this has happened on internet here, so I don't know if it's the weather or what. I don't know whether I'm coming through clearly or not, but I know some of the people who are speaking, I can't hear them, therefore you probably can't hear them or you can't hear me. Anyway, my apologies, but let's go back to David Massey, you were on just a second ago. You want to come back?
Right. Yes. We have, Florida has two coasts. There's the East Coast and West Coast, and there was also Central Florida or Volusia County British Car Club. It started out being MGs, and it ended up being all British. The one I'm in is Gold Coast British Car Club. It runs from Palm Beach all the way to Miami. So because there are three counties, we have three vice presidents, and they do events every other month every third month at their particular counties, picnics and those types of things. We have an annual car show February. It'll be Valentine's Day this year. And then the one that I was really interested in, I wrote a little bit, was writing in the chat. I was a member of the Key West British Car Club. It was founded by Fred Scomp, who was the owner of the 100,000th MGA. He lived in Key West, and he invited us down during the week of the Conch Independent Republic Days and did all kinds of events, playing bocce ball. It was a great time, including a parade, the longest parade from ocean to Gulf. It was only a mile along on Duval, but it was a great time. Since COVID, the rooms have gone so expensive in Key West that it's kind of been falling down, but I think they're going to try and reinstitute it this year. The rooms have come down a little bit. Tom Fant, Bruce Woodson, Jim Ferguson were all part of that. And so it was a great time. But and like I said, I had also been in the Central Florida when I lived in Daytona Beach. So, and then there's one in St. Augustine. I mean, we have, and I've also been at an event over at Safety Harbor, which was done by Suncoast, I think is the name of that club. So it's opportunities for us all. Anyway, I'll shut up. Thanks.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So who else has got a comment about a club? Their club.
John?
Here we
I'm a
got
member of
Paul.
the
I
Western-
got Paul up first here. So okay, let's
I'm
go,
a member
Paul.
of the I'm a member of the Western New York MG Car Club's Western Center.
Yes.
We've been around for 71 years. You actually have been out there and been our speaker at our
Yes.
Christmas gathering about 2 years ago. The club itself has been doing very well. We have about 175 members, of which about half of them are fairly active. We just had our Christmas party just recently. Our car show is always the first Saturday in June, and has been for the last 71 years. It started out as a bunch of guys on somebody's front lawn, and it blossomed into all kinds of crazy things. But the club itself is affiliated with England, and we are the second oldest center in the United States.
Excellent. And George Herschel, that He was
Yep.
your king there for a long time, wasn't he? I mean,
Yes, it was.
that was his baby for a long time.
Yes, it was. Directly.
Yep,
George
yep.
passed away probably about 10 years ago. But
So
his son but his son is still a member though.
wonderful. So it really makes a
Wonderful.
difference about the leadership. I know George was real powerful
Oh yeah, he
in
was.
keeping the club just operational and continuous. So, yep.
Right, it is. We have everything from MG TDs, TAs, TCs to Bs to As to Miatas.
Yeah.
We really welcome anyone. We have a couple of people that just drive Chevys and Fords, but they just like the
Hey,
camaraderie of being
yeah.
there, which is fine with us. And that goes. And club's been doing very well. We meet regularly once a month. We also have a breakfast called the Car Nuts Breakfast, which is kind of a crazy old thing. We've been going on for another 25 or 30 years, but it's been mostly the older retired guys. But just recently, within the last 5 years, we've got an influx of a bunch of people under 40.
Hey,
Like that. Hey, which is wonderful. So that's about all I've got to say about that one. Thank you.
hey, thank you very much, Paul. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, John.
Yes,
Steve
Steve.
Shupak out in
Yeah.
Newport Beach, California. So I'm in the SoCal MG Club, which does most of their activities up in the Valley in LA. Um, and there wasn't a whole lot of activity down my way until Rob Dion, the club president, asked for who wants to come help out, and I said, yeah, I could probably help out. So all of a sudden now I'm the coordinator for Orange County events, and had a few events here come together and drive-ins and meetups, and it's going pretty well out here. Made the big drive up to LA for the boots and bonnets, where guy had probably about 75 or 80 British cars of all ranges, sizes, minis and Triumphs, and Buddy took his D-type Jag up without burning the thing up on the line getting into the Gene Autry Museum, but we're going pretty good and getting some more activities down for the southern end of Southern California or Los Angeles, Orange County area. So it's going well.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Steve. I do have to say that some clubs that are you'd think Los Angeles, why wouldn't there be like 1,000 members? But at some points things are real high and other points things are real low. All clubs go through waves. We all know this. We've all been involved for a long time, where you've got good leaders, you got bad leaders, you got big membership, little membership. You're really active, you're hardly doing anything. Just hang on.
So
It's a wave.
so true. So true. When I was walking my new puppy around the block, and here's some guy with an open garage, and lo and behold, here's a beautiful A that with dealer plates on the thing. So I got to go bang on his door and say, oh, by the way, you need to come in and join the fold here.
There are so many. My standard line is almost everyone worships alone. Hardly anyone belongs to a club. You look at the total number of MGs that there probably are in the United States, certainly 100,000, and you add up the total club membership and subtract the overlapping, and you haven't got 4,000 in the national clubs. I don't think you got 4,000 members total, maybe five. Out of 100,000, geez, that's 1 out of 20. That's pretty low participation, but it is entertainment. That's what it is, and the club has to offer entertainment. And some clubs are really good at men and women. I mean, couples. I mean, you go to our local MG club. I mean, you got to listen to know that people own MGs. I mean, it
So,
just isn't. It isn't it isn't a technical club or anything. It's a social club. Absolutely. So yeah.
well,
Anyway,
well, what you're demonstrating is there must be a whole lot of really hot shit mechanics out there keeping their cars going on their own and not coming out for help and support. So where are these guys that know are that good at fixing cars?
John, hi, this is Doug. Every year at the British Car Festival, you walk around the lines of MGs or Triumphs and Jaguars, and there are these lone wolves who have nice cars who show up at the festival, but who do not belong to one of the local clubs.
Most,
and they just prefer to go it alone. And the same thing at the swap meet. The swap meet we have in the spring. You get guys who show up to buy parts on the, for their cars. They want to work on, but they're not a member of one of the MG
yeah.
club. They're not a member of the Elston Healy club or the Triumph club.
Doug,
I don't,
I'd quit drinking, but I don't want to go to the damn meetings. Yeah, it's interesting. We had that croquet thing. We had a couple of you could see a couple of cars from the street. We picked up two new members who just saw some British cars parked in a lot.
Yep. Yeah.
And on that day, we weren't out there trying to get members. We were out there trying to play a silly game. But it's amazing how the new members come from.
You can,
And we are again, we're mostly old fogies, but we are picking up a few youngsters. That's great.
that's real nice. I had a customer who had an AC, not an AC Cobra, an AC Asica, a hardtop, with a Bristol engine. The Bristol engine was really a BMW engine that came with intellectual property after we looted Germany after the Second World War. It was a Hemi engine with a single cam down inside the block. Is the damnedest valve configuration you can imagine. Anyway, he bought this car new when he was in England in 1958 or something, drove it just far enough so it'd be a used car, imported it so he didn't have to pay new car taxes. And he lived in a little neighborhood not too far from where I live now. And he said, I drive up the street. And he says, someone's got some kind of car underneath there. He said, I see the grill from time to time. He says, I know it from the grill. He says, I know it's British. He says, but I can't figure out which kind of car it is. And so one day he finally summoned up his resolve and stopped at the door, knocked on the door, and introduced himself. And they said, oh, it's an AC. They both owned ACs 2 blocks away from each other. And I never saw the other AC at any British event ever. Most people worship alone. Who else is on here with, actually it's 8:11. I should probably get over to the chat section, but let's take a couple, if we got a couple more club stories.
John?
Yes, Jim.
Jim Nybert. I'm with Central Ohio MG owners, and I'm proof that we will take almost anybody as a member. I'm the currently unindicted secretary treasurer, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a different take. We've got 160 members and about 190 people on our email distribution list. And one of the things with our club, and I'm probably pretty sure it's true with a number of other clubs, you have a core number of people who come out for almost everything. We've got 20, 25, maybe 30
Yeah.
people like that. But when in late winter, early spring, we have a tech session, 2 or 3 tech sessions, and we'll have members show up for that don't show up for anything else. Uh, the Central Ohio British Car Council puts on weekend events for British Car Day and a car show. We have people who show up for car shows. They don't show up for anything else. We do drives. We do a number of social activities. And let's see, what is it? January, I don't know if Brian Lever's on. We'll be joining the Emerald Necklace Club to go up to Cleveland to Playhouse Square to watch a play. In March, we'll get together with several other British car clubs, and we'll go to Amish country, to the Amish Country Playhouse to watch a comedy play like that. We'll do drives to various car shows. You've already heard from Tony Shoviak. I can speak to how nice their car show is at Fort Meigs. And one of the things about being a club member is it's like owning MGs. You can't have just one, you've got to have two. So I'm a member of the the Lake Erie British Car Club with Tony. I'm pretty sure that he did not vote on letting me in. I'm also a member of Emerald Necklace, and I lead generally a drive of anybody who wants to accompany me to go up. And I volunteer to uh, work at their car show, which is now in Hudson, Ohio. Uh, and of course, Tony Burgess, who's the convention coordinator for and is heading up the Sandusky event this year in August. Uh, the main thing is not only to just join a club, but for the clubs to get together and do things to support each other. And so with that, I'll let it go. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I've been to a lot of Emerald Necklace events a long time ago.
You know, down that show in Dayton, uh, Car Day Dayton, that is a great show. And it's among the trees, grass. It's just a pleasant show and a nice swap meet.
Nice.
And we enjoy that every year. And there was you talk about not going on with not joining a club. We've gotten 4 MGs back on the road this past summer, and not one of them belonged to a club. I encourage them to join the Emerald Necklace, and they all seem real positive about it, but I don't think they're going to do it. They got their car back on the road.
I can't say it enough. Most people worship alone. They just do. They just do. I mean, there are people on here that don't belong to clubs. There's certainly a whole lot of club people that aren't on here. I mean, there's something for everybody out there. And some of the clubs have tech sessions and some have drives and so, people are interested. Who just talked? Jim Nybert? Was that Jim Nybert who said they went to plays? Went to plays? I've never heard of that as an MG function, but it's just who's leading it and who makes it exciting. It's all about entertainment. So time for me.
Hey, John. Hey,
Real
John.
quick, John, one thing you mentioned is let Mike talk.
Mike,
just a quick about clubs. Thank you, Bob. You probably know this already, John, but W.C. Fields had a popular quote: "I'd never join a club that would have me as a member." That could be a driving force.
You mentioned the
I thought that was Marx. Yeah.
Groucho Marx.
No,
Groucho Marx.
W.C. Fields.
Anyway.
Groucho Marx, my favorite comedian.
Dick Van Dyke. Can you believe Dick Van Dyke just turned 100? Jeez.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Doug.
As Groucho Marx said when he was presented the bill at the restaurant, "This is outrageous," and handed it to the next guy. "I wouldn't pay it if I were you."
Yeah, he had a lot of good lines, And speaking of that, to those members of us who are Jewish, happy Hanukkah. Started last night. All right, I'm gonna go over to the chat section. John Pendiskia, I'm going to be rebuilding let me see if I can get this working here. Just a second here. I got to be able to say, rebuilding the rocker shaft. Oh man, I'm having a hard time reading this just because of the layout. There we go. Rocker shaft on my 80B. Do you have any tips for me? So when you're rebuilding the rocker shaft on the MG, remember the rear pedestal. There are 2 rear pedestals. Of all the terrible errors you can make, it's getting the wrong pedestal on the wrong head. So just, there's 2 pedestals, and the oil hole is either centered between the 2 studs or it's offset to the front by about, I don't know, 3/8, half an inch. You can't mix up the rear pedestals. Usually, if you just put in a new rocker shaft and leave it, it's fine. The next step is to replace the rocker shaft, get the rockers surfaced. The bottom of the rocker isn't flat; it's surfaced because it wipes. It's rotating on that valve stem, and it gets an elliptical wear pattern inside it. And when that gets too bad, you got to surface that out or find other rockers. Sometimes the rocker doesn't sit on top of the valve. it's offset to one side or the other. That's not uncommon. You can fiddle with that for quite a while, for quite a while to get the rockers to sit right on top of the valves. Only makes sense. It just takes switching them, matching them up. Should you get the rockers rebushed? That's the last step. So if they're absolutely horrible and trash, but boy, you can dump even a couple $100 into your rocker assembly. So it's rare that we rebush them when we were rebuilding an engine. So, and just a note about T-types, they wear so badly on the ends, you have to weld them, and then surface that, and those do get rebushed. Uh, Mr. Meisel, nice Christmas present to myself. I'll wrap it up, put it under my tree. Okay, Chris Aslett. Last section, the chap mentioned from Bimini tops from Texas. So Marty has answered this. Barry Glass, who's got an SBC Global .net address. So anyway, there's that information. So you can get that Bimini top. It's in the chat section. Ray Schmidt, I lost power to the dash and gauges on my 75B. Any tips on troubleshooting? I'm a new owner, inherited from my older sister. So the most common reason that you'd lose all the dash gauges on your car is that the third fuse down in the fuse box is corroded, blown out, usually just loose, something like that. The fuse boxes need regular attention. So take a picture of your fuse box so you know where all the wires go. Too much dirt and crap on the wires, take the wire off, clean it with carburetor cleaner, wipe it with a rag to restore the original color. Red with green, white, purple, brown, green, and red. Those are the colors that you find on the fuse box. I can do that again too. Um, and when you take a fuse box off of 70 through 80 and put it back on, you can put it on upside down. Yes, you can. If you do, usually you can't turn the car off. So it's a real quick indicator that something's wrong. But that would be what was wrong. There's a bridged connection at the top front that for the parking light circuits, because the parking light circuit is fed from the parking light switch directly to the fuse box and then separated. One goes to one side of the car, the other fuse goes to the other side of the car. That bridged connection's at the top. Anyway, take that fuse box off and clean it. We used to sandblast them. That's easy, but you don't have a sandblaster. Then you got to put it in the sink and put some copper, Brasso on it, or put it in a bowl of ammonia for half an hour, something like that. It'll clean it up. Scrub it with your kid's toothbrush. Pinch the terminals real tight so it holds the fuses tighter. Usually you can fix immediately what's wrong by taking the fuse and just jiggling it back and forth in place. But that's going to happen again. So that may make it work immediately. If the fuse is popped, if the fuse is blown, it means, there's a short someplace in the green circuit. Or would that be? The most common cause is the brake light switch. But the most common cause of the whole thing is just a corroded fuse. That's all. All right, iPhone. Okay, let's see. Donations there. Thank you, Marty. Donations to University Motors may be made on PayPal. Thank you. And here we've got Salmon Arm, British Columbia from Al, who now takes the farthest away. Williamsburg, Virginia, which is next from Ray Schmidt, doesn't hold a candle to, what's this place? Salmon Arm, British Columbia. That sounds so cool. Okay. Mike Baldwin said, where did John say he ordered the MGC lifters? He said he ordered them from the MG Owners Club in Swavesey. That's a mouthful. Swavesey, just north of Cambridge in England. But you'll find them as MG Owners Club. D. Bowler says, I know that the North American MGB Register Convention in 2026 will be held with the North American Council of MG Registers in Sandusky. Is there any information on where and when the NAMGBR, see, I can't pronounce it either, will be holding their convention in 2027? I don't think that has been officially released. I think someone told me, but fortunately I've forgotten. So I can't announce to too many people that I know where it is, but I've forgotten. So no, I don't know, but ask email one of the potentates there and see if they'll give up the information. Although here we got MGOC spares. Here we got the Okanagan. Al's from the Okanagan British Car Club in Salmon Arm. Is that right? British Columbia. So we got a login from San Jose and from Ron Nugent. Hey, Ron, how you doing? Haven't talked to you in a long time. From Paso Robles, which is in someplace in California. Connecticut MG Club, Bill Henley. So it's a timely discussion as we're forming a new club called the Treasure Coast British Car Club. We are about an hour south and an hour and a half away from any current British car clubs. Find it simply too far to drive and so forth. Yep. We should have an online presence at the beginning of the year and already have a core group of excited members and are expecting to have a reasonably sized club within the year. Very, 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 very good. Bill, are you still on? Where's Treasure Coast? Sounds like Florida to me.
Yeah, it is. It is Florida. It's on the East Coast. It's between Vero Beach and Jupiter, Florida.
Great. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. So here, Barney Gaylord's asking you to give him a note so he can come by. Oh, Tony Shoviak. Hey, Tony, I forgot. There's an MG 1100 club out of the UK. It covers all variants of the 11 and 1300s, one of which is the MG 1100. It's a great place to get information and locate parts. So
It's a FG Tech. Oh, hey, John Twist. Yeah.
Oh yeah, John Twist. Hang on just a second. I'm trying to find my mute all button.
He's like, I don't think it's very bad. I was like, that's pretty bad.
Just a moment.
Where's our guy?
There we go. I was able to hit mute all, and I got rid of the background noise. Not because I don't like anybody, but now I gotta find my. Oh my gosh, I'm having trouble with my screen tonight. I've got to get back to my chat section to get that back up. Okay, here's chat again. Oh, come on, baby. Just a moment. Thank you for staying with me. And Tony Shoviak, yep, MG 1100s. Okay, now our next, yeah, there was in the range of minis, there's the Wolseley Hornet and the Riley Elf. And if you've got any MG coffee table books where they got the history of MG, you see some Pininfarina kind of horrid looking car that they were going to call the MG Nat, GNAT. Probably they wouldn't have called it that if they actually had it for sale to put in the mini line. We missed that. So corporate cars.
Don't forget the Cricket.
What's that?
Don't forget the Cricket.
The Hillman Cricket?
No, the Plymouth Cricket.
Okay, so the Plymouth Cricket was the Hillman Avenger. So the Hillman is
Right.
Roots Group, not BMC. So yeah, my daughter's got an MGB GT. It's due here in just a couple of days from California on its way to New York. So on the back of the MGB GT, there's the later ones have got a plastic motif on the back, says MGB GT. Well, her initials are BRT, and the BGT was all but faded and wiped off this motif. The silver was still great, but the black was gone. And I went up to I rent from a body shop and I said, hey, who does lettering and stuff like that? Because I want to put a BRT on this existing thing instead of buying a new one. in blue lettering that said BGT. And one of the guys in the office says, "My wife has a cricket." And I said, "A Hillman Avenger?" And he said, "What?" So anyway, yeah, how many people remember the Plymouth Cricket? Oh my gosh. Yes. Anyway, funny. As a new owner of a 78B, I'm excited about joining the car club. Is there anyone from the, oh, I'm missing that line. It says tonight. Um,
Sacramento Car Club, Sacramento area, Sacramento Valley.
oh, okay, Sacramento, United Sports Car Club. Well, the certainly, you can call me tomorrow, Wyman. You can call me tomorrow. I know a guy in Sacramento, and there's a presence there, so I can get you in touch with the guy that I know in Sacramento. Absolutely, Michigan Rowdies. So that's a chapter. Gilda Prey brings them up. The Rowdies is the first chapter of the North American MGA register. I was there when they formed up the chapter. So Mike Baldwin, I live in western North Carolina near Asheville. Within about 100 miles or less, there are three British car clubs, two with their own big sponsored shows every year. We are fortunate. Yes, it's real nice. The density, the greatest density, I think, is my personal gut, the greatest density of MGs is in Ohio. That is MGs per capita, because they had the weird dealer network that went through there, and every little town had an MG dealer. Plus, it was the last state settled before the planners got there first. So they still have roads that follow ridges and valleys, and they're not just cut out on a grid. So anyway, here we got more clubs. Southeastern British.
Uh, John,
Go ahead, Mike.
shout
I'm here. I can't hear you. I don't know if it's me.
Marty,
I don't know if
Marty
it's
agreed
you.
to add that to your.
I got.
Marty agreed to add those to your list on your.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Marty.
I've got
Okay,
it in my notes.
great. Okay, we'll make this list. We'll make sure this list gets out on our website. The Southeastern British Motor Car Owners Club, the British Car Club of Western North Carolina. Is there anyone on the Zoom tonight from the Flatwater British Car Club in Omaha and Lincoln, Nebraska? David Basili. So I used to have a white piece of plastic with a bearskin hat, Buckingham Guard that said, "Oh, the Oklahoma Patrol." Man, I can't remember. I don't have it now. Long time ago. So Her Majesty's Oklahoma, I don't know, it's something. David Massey with the Gold Coast British Car Club, Palm Beach County. And Mike, yep, Mike's got that. All right, thank you very much. Mark Webb. Anyone from the Windsor Detroit Club? Now, the Windsor Detroit MG Club claims to be the only international local club because it's a local club. It's the Windsor Detroit MG Club. But some of the people live in Detroit, Michigan, USA, and some people live in Windsor, Ontario, Canada, or distance from there. And for years and years, and it still may be the case, I don't hear a lot about them. Every month they'd trade off. They'd meet in Windsor one month, and they'd meet in Detroit the next. So everything worked fine unless you're denied entry into the country. And of course, that's become just a dreadful, embarrassing issue. I hope that's solved. I hope that gets sorted out pretty soon. But is there anyone from the Windsor Detroit Club? Don't hear anybody tonight. I have a name tag from it. Here we go. John Borg, 66. MGB overdrive question. How best to run the power from the relay to the transmission switch? What gauge wire? Do you know a good source for the yellow red wire? Yes, you could probably buy the whole wiring loom, factory wiring loom. You can probably buy the whole loom from British Wiring in Philadelphia. British Wiring. They do a lot of, they may not have it in stock, but they can probably get it. If they can't get it, they can have somebody make it. And that's also your source for your yellow with red overdrive wire that goes down there, which is just 16 gauge is good enough. That's got an odd solenoid on it. It's got two coils. It's got a pull coil and a hold coil. Well, the pull coil takes this enormous amount of current and slams that solenoid shut, and then points open, and it stops drawing so much current, and then just a little tiny coil is able to hold it in there under 3 amps. But when that big one goes, that's a surge of, I don't know. Fortunately, it's only for just a flash, 20 amps or something. It's a monster coil in there. Anyway, British Wiring. You can find them on the web. They're a
Where
partner.
do I
Go ahead.
where would I string the wire? Do I just string it under the car
No,
to the
no,
transmission, or
it
is it?
must go, I can't see it. You'll need to find somebody who's got a picture of it. Um, I can't see it in my head, but it's got to run all the way from the relay all the way over to the rear of the right inner fender, where that loom then connects into the white with red that comes from your unfused switch. Fuse that switch. Just
Mm.
go under the dash and find the white wire that feeds that switch. Just fuse it. It's just stupid to have it unfused. Anyway, it goes from the relay all the way over to the rear right hand side of the right inner fender. And then from there is connected to the gearbox loom. So I bet there's two looms involved here. So, but they will be able
Mm.
to tell you at British Wiring.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, that's as good as I can do tonight. All right. Doc Rosevere, Marty, where do I go on John's website to buy the MG book? And I think Marty's given him an answer. Great. Okay. From Andrews, any active clubs in the Washington, D.C. area that anyone would recommend? Well, one of the three longest MG car club centers in the United States. You got the Rocky Mountain Center, you got the Western New York, who the gentleman's on tonight said was the second oldest, and you got the Washington, D.C. Center. I think Rocky Mountain is older. I think they're the older ones. But the Washington, D.C. MG Car Club, you've got to be able to find somebody there can help you in the greater. You can call John Tokar what's his vintage what's his name of Tokar's business, not Vintage Restorations. That's not quite right. Um, anyway, Tokar in the Washington D.C. area, and he can get you in touch with those people. I'm sure if you can't, call me. I'll do it. Um, and here we got yeah, there are a bunch of MG clubs around the greater DC area. Absolutely. Here I'm looking, here we go. Brits of the Hudson Limited Automobile Club, established 1992, about 100 members in the mid-Hudson Valley area. Brad Schwartz, thank you very much for letting us know. There are just MG clubs everywhere. It's just wonderful. And it's nice that almost all of them are British car clubs because of the numbers. If there are enough MGs, you wouldn't have to do it. But things as they are, you have to welcome, the Sunbeams and I mean, even the Hillman Avenger. Um, now, what if it's badged up as a Plymouth Cricket? Would you still accept it in a British car club? If they'll pay the dues, that's the bottom line, I think. David Massey says the best club is Key West British Car Club, founded in 2009, and the late Fred Scomp lived there. Annual event, and that's he already told us about this in the discussion. And they're a great group of MGA owners who go to Key West for this event. So they're trying to get it jazzed back up again. Absolutely. So here we got Marty's got a link to this all. Thank you for the information. As a new owner of an MG 75B, I have no clue where clubs are near me. So Ray, here, this gives you a starting point. Thanks very much. Um, and we've got some talk between a couple of people here. Can I get the name of the club in Michigan on the Facebook group I'd like to join? And John Clark has answered that and said the West Michigan OSH, Old Speckled Hen, MG Car Club. We've named our car club after a beer. And then because it's Old Speckled Hen, then everything's chicken, and it's referred to locally as the Chicken Club, not the Chicken Ranch. Don't get confused. The Chicken Club. Everything, all the gifts, all the gags, everything all has to do with chickens. It's hey, every club's got its own thing, right? So here we got the Fox Cities British Car Club located in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And Ian Griffith says, here's the about 75 members, at least on a Facebook. You know, some clubs are real formally, like you don't pay, you don't get the newsletter anymore. If it's mailed, fair enough, but most of them are electronic now. Um, some are so loose, and as I said, in Altoona, PA, the club still meets. People put out the information, but there's nothing formal to it at all. There's just some people that run it, and no one's upset with the way they run it, so they're not forcing any elections. So it's always nice. Here we got Wyman Adcock says, one question, should we register our VIN on an American registry or a British registry? Well, since there isn't just one great big registry, do both. Everybody's interested in collecting numbers. My late wife had a fantasy about VINs. Oh my gosh, we've got a VIN file which just goes on thousands and thousands of cards. Cars that she saw at car shows, cars that we saw in a junkyard. I mean, plus the people who registered. She was the registrar for the American MGB Association, and also in the early days for the B Register. So we've got a lot of VINs in our database. So I just need someone to come and volunteer and say, oh, what? Sit all day with a stack of 3x5 cards, entering it into Excel or into what's the next step up? Access. Wouldn't that be fun? If you think that's fun, we can work something out. Gil Dupre says we have the Southern British Car Club Chattanooga, and our annual show is the first weekend in October, and have had it since 1991. Very cool. Ray Schmidt, thanks for the help. Learned a lot about wiring. Maybe I'm on the space station. Maybe you are. Maybe we're being broadcast out towards Mars someplace. PayPal donations. Hey, John, I'm a member now, recently elected vice president for the Peachtree MG Registry, and that's Atlanta. One thing for sure, I've started to meet a handful of younger owners and future owners waiting to get their cars running or getting them ready to buy. Well, get them in the club. Get them in the club. It doesn't matter if they got the car. If they're going to get the club, the car's sitting in the garage. Make them, force them, entice them, get them into the club. And why do they come to the club? Why do they come to a club meeting? Because it's fun. It's entertainment. And whoever else is in charge of their checkbook, it's got to be fun for them too. So just keep that in mind when you're working.
Hey, John, John, it's Gary here, top left-hand corner under user.
Oh yeah, I see upside down there again.
I'm the one that's upside down. I don't know how to.
Yep. All right.
Can somebody answer how I can fix my being upside down?
Oh,
turn your camera around.
Well, the camera's mounted on the computer.
Oh,
that's probably what the problem is. So, all right. So we've got
move to Australia or New Zealand.
Yeah, from the southern hemisphere. So Dean Webb says in Medford, Oregon, there's a club out there. So anyway, we have run through nearly all of our Q and A's, and we've talked about clubs. It hasn't been one of our larger meetings. Marty, well, Doug, you're my official counter. How many, how many, um,
Well, John, I'm on my phone now.
oh,
But anyway, I noticed 115.
okay,
That's what I noticed. I'm not sure. I wasn't really paying that much attention this time,
okay.
but
Yeah,
I
it
had
was
115.
it was coming. There was a little bit of in and out there. I saw 117. There was 116, 114, but 117 was the most I saw at once.
Hey, I'll take them.
I
I'll
agree
take
with
them.
Marty.
And we did have our new person. If you've been following on our Facebook group, there was a teenager who was offered a midget, and so we had to work together to find a place to store it and then find someone to help move it. But that happened, and he was on with us for a little bit today, but then he had to go study for his final exams as a senior in high school. But he was there for a little bit.
Marty, that was a young man that was on right before, about 5 minutes before time. And thank you very much. 117.
Thank you, Mike. We just lost your audio. But while you're turning that back on, since Doug and I always have a hat contest, I'm sure. Thanks, Sean. This is Letterman Rupp. We could have a whole text session about what happened to Larry Rupp. We could have that. We probably won't. But anyway, so oh, Jesus. There we go. So there we go. Here's my MG my MG cap. So there. What do you got tonight, Doug? Doug is still quiet. So Doug's got to unmute himself. If Doug,
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you were talking earlier about some hat you used to have from Oklahoma or something, or what was that hat, John? You had just a few minutes ago. You were talking about something.
This is the Larry Rupp hat. This is my Larry Rupp hat. So, and my other hat is just my combat hat from working today.
Oh, right. I thought you were talking about some hat you lost that was from Oklahoma, some tall.
Oh no, no. Okay, all right. That was a poster. It was a little tiny poster, but I expect you're going to surprise me here, Doug.
Well, I was going to say, if it was an actual hat, John, I was going to start kidding you, saying I actually ended up with that hat. It was part of my collection, but what I do have is my trusty Christmas Tam O'Shanter.
Hey, all right,
if you
there
can
we
see
go.
that. Yeah. So that's what I have with the little. I don't know if that's got the Tam or what that is.
It looks like Scotland's meeting France tonight, huh?
Yeah. Beam me up, Scotty. All right.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Larry Rupp. Yeah, that's a long story. No one's seen him in, I don't know what, 25 years? All of 20. So we're open. We've got another 13 minutes to go if anyone wants to hang on until 9, and I'm happy to entertain any question anybody might have about MGs.
Are we doing December 29th?
No.
December 29th.
No, we're meeting again on January 12th.
January 12th.
Yeah, January 12th. I do these two times a month, and this month was the first and third. And some people have, anyway, in January it just works out for me better to be the second and fourth Mondays of the month.
John, this is Judge. I got a question for the group.
Yes, sir.
When I first started with MGs back in about 2012-13, there was a lot of activity on the MG enthusiast board by some people out in the Colorado area, and they formed a club called the Whitworth Nuts Motoring Club. And I thought that was a pretty cool name, Whitworth Nuts. And so I bought one of their badges and still put it on my car. I haven't heard anything about them for what are we looking at now? Over 15 years. And I'm
That's because
just curious if anybody here
they got the
is from that
badge
area
wrong.
knows if they exist.
They got the
What
badge
do you mean?
wrong. You got a hexagon instead of an octagon. See,
Well,
so
yeah, they are very clever. I mean, they're out west. What do you expect? Well, I
Hey,
like Whitworth
hey,
Nuts.
hey,
I thought
hey,
it was
hey, hey,
cool.
careful, careful.
so I've got
Steve, you're beyond out west.
I've got a
It's just that
sticker.
the air is.
I get a sticker for the Positive Earth Club. So
We're trying to
that's a
form the
multi-mark.
round headlight. We're trying to form the Round Headlight Preservation Club. And we've got a logo for it. I'll try to pump it up on the next meeting. But yeah, round headlights are getting to be quite rare.
The Round Headlight Club. Hey,
Preservation Club.
does the acronym say something rude or funny?
No, we've got one that's the acronym, which is uh, Chuck's, Chuck's Rescue and Pulling. Anyway, it comes out crap.
Okay.
I may
Yeah.
be able to put it.
Hey, John, I figured I would kind of had some thoughts about kind of car clubs in general and how
Sure.
they've kind of expanded and changed over the last, several decades. And I figured I'd take a second to bring it up if you thought it would be all right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, as I mentioned, I just yesterday became the vice president for the MG Club here in Georgia, the Peachtree MG Registry. And I think, as far as I'm concerned, that club has been established since roughly 1986. And looks like I'm going to be the youngest member of office in the history, coming in at 20 years old. And with that, I really like to think that we can continue to move towards a younger group if if we can continue to kind of adapt with the modern landscape. One thing I always think about with car clubs is that I think car clubs, as themselves, kind of came from groups of people, let's say, in 50, 60, 70 years ago, and this was before the internet was even a thought. And it was people in these close proximity areas that kind of almost had to form some of these car clubs that had similar vehicles and did it so they could stay informed on, parts and where to get that and how that works. And it's kind of funny now when you get the internet in the mix, come to the, the 90s, 2000s era, and all that information is at your fingertips. It kind of all changes, then you can just look up whatever you got the answer to, and less people, as it was mentioned, is less people feel inclined to join clubs. More people are loners, like you said. And some people now, of course, some people they just want to drive their cars and maybe not interested in kind of the group efforts and the group events on occasion. But it's just funny how all that's kind of changed now in this landscape we live in. You have to really kind of adapt. And
Yeah.
I
It's
think
all about Facebook. It's all about
yes.
Facebook and stuff that comes with that. I
Yep.
mean, yeah.
Yeah. And I think with it's funny you said, it's entertainment. And it really is in a sense. It's a lot of, okay, what do you do as a club? Well, you have social gatherings, which brings out people to drive their cars to a locate, go to a brewery, do this, do that, go mini golfing. But it's really it becomes more of a social event, and as we see kind of the seniority continuing to be established in these clubs, it is, as everybody knows, is important to bring in the new blood to continue. But I think sometimes the new blood kind of fail, and I'm confident in myself that I've recognized that it's important that we do recognize the seniority in these clubs. I think some younger people are hesitant to join a club that's mostly made up of people that are
Their
a little bit older
grandparents.
than them, to say the
They're made up of their
least.
grandparents. Who wants
Well,
to Who wants to hang out
Yes,
with their
exactly.
grandparents? You got to make it. You got to find something to keep get people jazzed up. And whether it's out for it, like Judd says, out for a drive, or a couple of the people have said they got something for everybody.
Exactly.
They got a tech seminar, they got a driving event, they got a car show, I have a
Yeah.
movie night. There's 100
Yeah.
MG movies out there, all the way from training films to love story to, just something. There's something for everybody. You just got to find it.
It's that one Elvis Presley movie in Hawaii where he drives his MGA. I can't remember the name of that movie, but there you go. But yes, I think that just, if clubs can continue to recognize that kind of gap, and I mean they're gonna start seeing it regardless as this kind of seniority ages out in some places. I think as long as they find a way to properly fill that gap, and that's definitely going to be one of my goals as being the vice president now for this upcoming year. And just kind of, I'm hoping that my position will show other people my age that it doesn't have to be just the older guys. Just hey, take the leap. If you're going to get a car, you want to get a car, then take the leap, join the club, and then kind of begin that new age. That's all it takes. So it's very good to recognize. And our club as well, we do yeah, go ahead, Jim.
This is part of what happened in the 1950s into 60s when the MG car clubs, the original centers, there was from the MG car club that we got three of them that are left. They're proud of their history. Started in what was that one in Rochester, New York? Started in 1955 or something or other, and they're the second oldest. I mean, they're proud of that. But a lot of those centers collapsed and failed because they weren't able to find a way to get people interested. Some people are looking for spouses. Used to be, you could hang around the MG group and find somebody to date. Now, most of the people that are in it now, we're past that. But there's got to be something for everybody.
But John,
John Gary here. So
Yeah.
I'm on a Macintosh Intel, and I'm assuming it's my computer.
I don't know. I don't know about Macintosh. If you got a
So
separate.
I'm just wondering if anybody on the chat group can assist.
his picture's upside down.
Yeah.
You got a separate camera? Turn your camera upside down.
No, it's built into the computer.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. It's some kind of something. I don't know. This is the difference between trying to talk about Triumph overdrives and MG overdrives. I don't know anything about Apple.
You must be calling in from Australia.
No, I'm in Canada, and I was hoping to be able to, somebody might know Macintoshes and
No, you'll have to find another group, Gary. This is a yeah.
It's in your Zoom app.
Oh, okay. Well,
Zoom
signing
app.
off here.
How about your Zoom app?
Your Zoom app.
Zoom.
Why is my camera on Zoom upside down?
Google it.
Hey, John.
Sean from Battle Creek is Googling it. Loose nuts forever. Oh, this is great. Who's this? Who's
That's
got
just,
this? Oh,
I want to follow up
okay.
on what Ian was saying.
Yep.
One of the things that we have had great success with, and I know it's ancient technology, but we have a Google Group email distribution. If I want to do a drive tomorrow up to Brevard for breakfast, I can hit that group and I'll have 5, 6, 10 people in the parking lot tomorrow morning ready to go.
Okay, that's
communication is critical to keeping things going.
Thank you. That's through Google?
And it's wonderful. I was really not in favor of it when I was president because I didn't want to get a bunch of junk mail. You don't get any.
Yeah.
This is completely enclosed with the group. If you're not in the group, you don't get them and you can't send anything. So it's a very safe form of communication. And like I said, I know email is ancient technology, but it still works.
Yes.
That's definitely a goal I'd like to reach for that kind of group gatherings for sure. Drives are always, I think, regardless, I think some kids, if you say, well, I'm doing a drive, I mean, if just speaking for myself, we're doing a drive to a brewery. And it's like, well, I can't even drink. So
But you
it's
need to
just,
talk to the kids.
yeah, it's drives are something that everybody can do if you've got an MG, and those are always going to be the best kind of group activities.
But you need to talk to the kids and see what they're interested in. My
Exactly, and
daughters are
combining
20,
those interests.
my daughters are 24 and 25. They were down to the Dayton Christmas party. We're able to communicate with those members. Now they've been around for a long time. John will tell you. I started dragging those kids to the MG events when they were a couple years old, and they've grown up with MGs, and people know them.
They can
Barbara
speak
did a
in,
lot with them when they were younger.
they can speak
Yeah,
MG. Yeah.
that's right.
But
you
it's like, what do they, how do they get their friends to get their MG, to get their grandpas or dad's MGs? And that's
One last, yeah, one last war story. A couple of us from the club went over to a local high school that they had a quote classic car club that met in the afternoons. And I was
okay.
in the TD. My buddy was in a TR6. We go in, and this group of about 30 high school seniors. None of them had ever heard of a Triumph or an MG. So when we go out, I show them the crank handle, and they can't believe you actually could do that. And so one of the kids raised his hand and said, "Well, I drove my classic car today." And we said, "Oh, great! What did you drive?" He drove a 1996 Chevrolet. Now, I'm old. I don't think of 1996 cars as classic cars, but to him, 18 years old, 96 car, that was a classic for him. And it took me a little while to realize that. So keep that in
Yeah.
mind.
Yep.
One thing you can do is take him for a ride in your little British car.
Oh, yeah, we do that.
And there are car shows. We've been to car shows from the East Coast to the West Coast. And to get there, you got to drive your little British car. And life's too short to drive a boring car. So get in your MG or try whatever you have, and don't be afraid to drive it. They're sturdy little cars, and we'll take it anywhere we.
At our summer parties, one of them, I want to say probably all of 10 years ago, um, um, Gene Cooper came down. I don't know how he ended up with a couple of MGs here. He's got a couple of kids. Maybe they all drove them. I don't know. But he had a TD. And it was like anyone who wants to drive my TD can drive it out on the field. And there was a lot of room. You really couldn't get in too much trouble. Anyone who wants to drive it. And there were younger people there who were there because they were dragged along by an adult. But who at a very young age drove a clutch, hadn't driven a clutch before, just,
Yep.
hey, just go out and do it. And I'm convinced that if you can just get their butt in the seat and go out and
Mm-hmm.
drive for a while, they'll enjoy driving. But what you can't do is give them a ride. Well, you give them a ride first, of course you have to. You can't sit next to anybody in their car while they're driving because number one, they don't know what they're doing. They're going to make lots of mistakes and they're embarrassed when they make a mistake, especially if the owner or an adult is sitting in the right-hand seat. So the only logical way to do it is the way we did it, and that is you take them around the block a couple times in the car and say, this is how it works. Try to explain why it works, but certainly how it works. And then point the car down the driveway, walk inside, tell them to come back in 2 hours. They'll figure it out, And the MGBs are so durable. I just want to say you can't wreck them, Midget or a crash first gear. Okay, all right, okay. But it's real hard to hard to wreck a MGB. So getting in and driving it, some people like the way they look. Some people like the way they feel. I just think that if you sit in it and go on for a drive, it's like, yeah, this is fun, and you can buy one for 10 grand, compared to what? I don't know what a 96, whatever that thing was, a Chevelle or whatever Judd said, but yeah, it's exciting. Hey, it's 9:03. We've used up our time tonight, and it's want to say,
Hey, John, real quick.
yes.
Hey, John, real
Yes.
quick. I did find why his screen is upside down.
Oh, good.
So I don't know if you guys want to follow, but if you go down to the lower left corner where it says your little video, you can click on that carrot and it has video settings.
Okay.
You go to video settings, another screen comes up, and if you see my screen, there I am upside down.
Okay.
Hey, so it's
Okay.
I'm on a Macintosh.
So when you go to video
Here I
settings-
am. I'm.
Yep.
It was different. I was
Yep.
able to.
Okay.
I was able to get it.
Okay.
Oh,
Wonderful.
you found it.
Thank you.
Sweet. Very
Thank you.
good.
Gold star. Gold star.
Pleasure.
One parting shot. Make
Woo-hoo.
sure you to teach them to pay for gas. I didn't.
All right. That's good. That's good. Well, I'm going to switch you over to gallery view here and just say goodnight. So, Doc Rosevear, you can get in touch with Marty. We probably ought to, for as many seminars as you've attended, I ought to send one to you for free. But if you send me the $25, you'll get it faster. So, thanks so much. I don't know. I keep thinking I should have some more technical seminars, and I know there's
Thanks, John.
a group of people on here who would attend if we decided to do so, but I really don't have a good place to do it yet. So anyway, just want to thank everybody for being on. Don't know what we're going to talk about next time. Something more
Enjoyed it,
exciting than clubs. Always like to see closer to 200 people on, but hey, it is what it is. So thanks for talking about your own club. I mean, we all belong to different organizations, and it's all fascinating. So
Bye from the space station.
okay.
Good night, John. It's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Talk to you later.
absolutely.
Merry Christmas.
All right.
Thanks, John.
Hey.
And hey, your calendar's in the mail.
John.
Oh, it's very kind. Very, very kind. Thank you very much. All right.
John.
So, Merry Christmas
Merry
to everybody.
Merry
Year.
Matter of fact,
Merry-
I won't
Hi,
see
John.
I'll see very, very few of you until next year. So yeah.
Good night.
Okay. Thanks
Stay
a
out of
lot.
trouble.
Good night.
Good night.
I love you, John.